Thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate everyone's time. My name is Sean. I am a board member of the Car Wash Association of Pennsylvania. And we want to start a new tradition. So pardon our hiccups here as we move our way along. I'm joined today for our panel by 3 of 4 of the hosts we're going to have, but due to some technical difficulties, we're going to have to wing it here. Luckily, we've got some big talent. We've got Mark Tyndale. Mark is a big hitter in the industry, currently working with CleanRight, and I will let everybody introduce themselves. We're also joined with Mike Stern, who is with EverWash and Coinless, and Chris Caporelli, who is co-founder of the Tri-State Car Wash Network, and also, like Mark, an owner-operator. And I'll let them each introduce themselves a bit more. Mark, can we start with you, sir?
I'll go first. All right. My name's Mark Tyndale. I started out as a distributor for 20 plus years. The family owns 7 in-base self-serve sites. I sold my distributorship and worked for another company for a couple of years. Now I work for CleanRight, in charge of strategic partnerships, CleanRight radio and CleanRight equipment.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Awesome. My name's Chris Caporelli. I'm a co-founder of Matisse Partners. We're in the car wash space. We have 7 express car washes here in the Philadelphia area. We also own a chemical distribution business. We're in the laundry space, and I've been in it about 10 years at this point.
I'm Mike Stern. I'm the Vice President of Sales with EverWash and Coinless. We are an end-to-end membership solution. And we've got about 1,200 washes on our platform in all 50 states, so all over the country. My role has always been to bring locations on and set them up for membership success. We had the opportunity to acquire Coinless, which is a loyalty-based app, last year, and now we're rolling that out. So, I've just been doing loyalty and membership in this industry for a long time.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for volunteering your time. So thanks for everybody for being here. And all of our great sponsors, but thanks for these guys too. This was all very last minute as we put this together. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us. So,
could anyone hear us? I just realized.
We thought
somehow.
Yeah. We're for you. Yeah. The mic's just for the people in Pittsburgh. We're doing this event live here and in Pittsburgh. And actually, it probably makes more sense if you hold that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're speaking loud for everyone here, and this is for the folks. So we were going to have them on the Bluetooth, but due to some technological difficulties, I will admit I'm not technologically that sharp. All right. So our topic today is, membership, but I really wanted to go further because we all know that membership is not the only thing that we offer car washes, right? We have membership and we have retail. So I wanted to dive more into what that means, right? So speaking specifically about membership versus retail, and with your background, guys, what does, in your day-to-day, talk about your thoughts between membership and retail sales in the car wash business? We'll start, Chris, since you've got the world's largest microphone, you can begin.
Sounds good. Do you want me to talk into it? Or?
Yeah, sure. Just close enough is good.
Sure. So membership is super important to our car wash business. It makes upwards of 80 to 90% of our revenue at some of our mature sites. And then retail business is what we sort of view as the consumer that's going to come in between 1 and 2 times a year. And we sort of view them as our at-bats to get more members. So our membership, when we bring an employee in or a potential investor, we pitch ourselves as a membership company that just happens to wash vehicles. And that's what we instill in our employees. And it's really important for the viability of our sites, just given how expensive everything has gotten over the past 5 years. We have to make sure we're hitting our capture rate. So that's how we sort of track if our sites are doing well. If they're getting north of a 12%, 15% capture rate, the site's doing really well and performing like we expect.
Great. So I have a good bit of experience with memberships from the operating side. And then since I've been with CleanRight, all we do is talk about memberships with our podcasts and with our seminars because the self-serve and in-bay folks have lagged behind with membership, and they're trying to get into it, trying to figure it out. it is a little bit different model than what Chris is doing because it's not the major focus of the business. It's more of a bolt-on business. It's not the prime, but it is a great bonus. And you're gonna start seeing more and more self-serve operators going to platforms like EverWash for their in-bays and their self-serve, mostly because everybody's talking about it, and you can bolt on another section of revenue.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important now. The more revenue, the better. With a hyper-competitive market.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the perspective. I mean, I think when I look at the retail business, that's feeding your memberships, right? I mean, like Chris said, that gives you the at-bats. You know, when I talk to any owner about, you know, offering membership, it's not a something you dip your toe in. You got to be a subscription business, or you offer retail, you know, with some type of loyalty, which essentially is just a discount, right? But if you're going to go membership, you become a subscription business, and you know, your promotions, your operations, they have to follow. So that's my take on it too.
Great. Thank you, guys. So obviously in the past, success was defined by things like the average ticket at a car wash. It seems obviously today it's defined, especially in the tunnel, and then, you know, as Mark said, more so gaining in the automatic and the self-serve realms. It's judged by membership and subsequently loyalty, right? So how do you guys define success? So Mark, in your area, being as you own automatics and self-serves, since we said obviously you're not lagging behind on membership, but how do you define success? Especially speak maybe first to the self-serve.
Well, I think you know, the in-bay world, it's almost a necessity today to have it. I think you should have it. In the self-serve, I think what separates the good membership sites from the not so good membership sites is the owner buy-in. Like if you just add it and think it's just going to take care of itself, it's probably not going to be that successful. But if you know, like Mike would say, if you really jump into it with both feet, it becomes more a part of your business plan, and you definitely do a lot better. I mean, I know with Fastlane, we were probably one of the first to do memberships and in-bays. We were doing unattended sites with RFID tags. Talk about a nightmare. Right? So then we went to app-based, which was the way to go for unattended in-bay. And but we went full force, and we advertised, and we had promotional. You know, we priced it right, and you know, it's a successful platform for that.
Great. Chris, how do you define success? Now, you talked about 12-15% capture rate for membership. What's a good day look like in your world?
Sure. So from a tunnel perspective, which is what we own, we look at it a couple different ways. So total number of members doesn't really give you the full picture of what you're looking for. So early on, we had a lot of members at our site, 7,000-8,000 members at a site. I'm like, oh, we're killing it. At the end of the day, though, our prices were too low. People are using it a lot. So you're killing the equipment, using a lot of chemicals, a lot of utilities. So what we've done over the past couple of years is started raising our prices on the membership. The numbers have stayed pretty consistent. They have come down a little bit, but the revenue has gone up so much more. So revenue, number one thing is at your site. Your average price point is important, and we do measure that every quarter to sort of see where we're at. But what we've found is how our employees are pitching really drives what package these members are signing up for. So we incentivize our employees based off of a tier commission structure. The higher the package, the more money they get in commission and things like that. But we also do have to watch churn to make sure people aren't just selling the top packages to make more money. So they are incentivized in the back end to make sure the member stays in that package. We also look at our capture rate, so revenue, capture rate, and then overall price point of the average member is like the three things we're looking at when we're bonusing our members or our managers, excuse me, and seeing how the site is performing. That's how we measure it.
Great. And
Can I ask? Go ahead.
well, yeah, just to piggyback on something that both have mentioned. I think Mark mentioned something that you've said before. I feel like a membership program, in my opinion, is a lot like college. You get out of it what you put into it, right? You can cruise by and it's not going to necessarily make you successful, but you can put the badge up that says I have membership, right? Look at me. But if you're not working it, to Mark, your point, and I'm sorry, and what Mike had said. So can you talk a bit more to that, Mike? being, fully immersed in membership and
Well, I
whatnot?
want to ask Chris a question.
By all
first.
means.
I'm going to break the rules here.
Go for it.
So you talked about,
There are no rules.
so you talked about raising prices, like how you measure success and basically that diminished margin with the members. Did you keep the multiple the same, raise retail and membership at the same time? Or like, how did you decide how to do that increase?
So we looked at our margins. We started there. So every year we do a deep dive, and when we're doing our internal budget for our planning purposes, we'll look at where we were at year over year in terms of our gross margin and net margin on the site, and we'll sort of reverse engineer where we need to go with the prices. We'll look at our chemical adjustment. Our utilities have gone up every single year, 3 to 5%. Labor has gone up. So we'll take that. We'll see how much more we're going to be our operating costs for the next year, and then reverse back into the price increase. And then keep in mind when we're doing it, we're not going to do it, $3 or $4 or $5 at a time. We're going to sort of inch it up $1 to $2 each package, so we're not giving a shock to the customer. And we do this every year pretty much at this point to a point, and then we'll have to stop because at some point will be too expensive. But for now, we've been doing that until hopefully inflation is, hopefully non-existent or back normalized.
Okay. Yeah. But it's in line with the retail price.
Yeah, we
increase
do
as
it at
well.
the same exact time. So we're updating our membership because you have to keep those in line. Like it has to make sense for the consumer. If the retail bottom package is 12 and the membership's $19.99, it makes a ton of sense. But if we're, $6 for a car wash, the membership's $30, the multiplier is going to be off and the value is not there. We've always tried to stay less than 2 times. So our pitch has always been, if you come here more than 1 time in a month, you're going to save money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's the point. So I spend every day, every hour of every day talking to owners about this, whether it's initial setup or whether it's about raising prices, right? And that correlation between the multiple between retail and membership is sometimes lost. And I think that's a very important aspect of it. And I know I spend a lot of time explaining that to customers. So that's.
Yeah, I mean, pricing's there's only so many levers in the car wash business you can pull to drive the site profitability. You really can't cut many of the fixed costs, and you can raise prices or sell more washes. They're really your only 2 levers. So pricing, I feel like a lot of people especially in the Philadelphia market, have been afraid to increase price because everyone was sort of known for that $3 to $5 express price. And at the end of the day, as long as you're providing great service and good quality product, people are willing to pay for it, as we've seen. Our bottom price starts with $12.99 now plus tax. We went completely cashless as of last year at all of our sites, and we added that 6 to 8% tax right on top of the wash price now, so we're not eating that anymore. And we have seen no issues from the customers, and our revenue keeps climbing.
But I think what you said is you evaluate it every year, and I think what the tunnel industry has, and we talk about this a lot. What the tunnel industry has brought to the self-serve and in-bay is teaching people you do need to evaluate your business annually and then pivot. And, in our industry, which is primarily self-serve and in-bay, they do not look at their business. And then they're looking at you to see what you're doing.
Right.
And they're not raising their prices. So, I mean, if you evaluate the business and raise it every year with inflation, you don't get behind.
Right.
I mean, I hear we're the only car wash in town.
And I'm in the small town.
Very often. I'm in a small town,
Yeah.
dirt roads. Nobody's coming here. It's
Yeah.
my market.
Right.
And then I get a call a year later. Tunnel open down the street. I'm down 75%.
Right.
Yeah, imagine 40,000 calls a year like that.
Yeah. And I've always said that I think membership is 50-50 in my mind. It's 50% for the revenue that it generates, but it's also 50% the loyalty that's created with membership. If you've got a good enough membership base, a car wash could open across the street. People are going to try it out for the free wash week or whatever, but they're going to come back home, right? Because especially if what you said, Chris, when you're earning that business every day and you're taking care of your members.
Right.
So it's,
What we talk about, and nothing against memberships, but if you run a poor site and you're not providing that great service and you think you're just going to put a membership on it, you're probably going to fail.
Yep.
You need to do the other thing.
You're 100% right. And that's why when we launch a car wash, EverWash, when we launch someone onto the platform, we spend a couple of days there at the tunnel. And a big part, I think a lot of it now, especially now, because it used to be that we were bringing on car washes that were introducing membership. Now we're bringing on car washes that have failed at membership and are recommitting. So a lot of what we do when we're on site is consultative, right? It's like, hey, it's great that you're bringing on membership, but the landscaping is not there, right? You've got to replace some of this equipment. That arch isn't working. This doesn't, right? So it's about taking care. It's about, thinking about the long term. on those visits.
And I was shocked, when I started in this industry at, the lack of running like a business, right? Basic economic principles, supply and demand, innovation just didn't exist in the industry. And if you go to the car wash show today or, represented what we're talking about here, you can go to that show and look at all the innovation. So, every single car wash out there needs to innovate and continue to look at prices, evaluate their business every year. I couldn't agree with you guys.
Yep. Yeah. And to finish that up, we know this younger generation, they're loyal to Nike, they're loyal to Apple, but they are not loyal to, the mom and pop businesses around their neighborhood. So that's how I think membership's how we do it. But also there's big room, as we've talked about, I think, for loyalty. What do we do for what I call loyal non-members, right? So there's got to be something, we'll get into that. But so with the focus shifting, obviously, to membership, have you guys stopped utilizing things like discount days, like ladies, day, or, books, or even add-ons at the car wash, right? Because it feels like sometimes, people are trying to sell too much, right? You go in trying to get them upgraded to the top package. If they don't want that, you're trying to add on tire, shine, or ceramic. If they don't want that, then you're going to membership. Sort of how much is too much, and how's your focus shift for you guys? Are you still doing a lot of those peripheral secondary things, the secondary sales, tertiary sales? Mark?
No, in our M-Bays, we package everything. We only offer 3 packages.
Great.
We package everything in the top that you get in the top. The only promotion that we do, we offer, like points for the pay-as-you-go users. If they're using our app, for every time you use it, you obtain points. Once you get points, it'll email or text you a QR code and you get free wash.
Great.
We also do the happy birthday thing.
Awesome.
That's about the only thing we do.
Great. And Chris, I know you utilize programs like that as well. And it's I'm on a similar game with you, where we are really utilizing the marketing to the retail customers as future members, right? So they're really not retail customers; they're future members that we can market to. And you talk about what you're doing in that space.
Sure. So we don't really do discounts outside of our family plans. We don't subscribe to discounts. I think people get addicted to them. I think people have seen that in the retail space with Bed Bath & Beyond, for example. Didn't end well for them. I don't think people get addicted to free. They have a certain expectation. Oh, it's free. Let me try it out. They don't expect it to be free ever again, or maybe once a year type of thing for a special occasion. So we always push free to get them in. Free works the best. We just opened up a site on Saturday in Bucks County, and we're doing free for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Site's been closed 4 years. We rehabbed it completely. And people are like, oh, you're crazy. You just need to do it a week or 10 days. We have a certain goal in mind. We want to get to a memberships, and we're going to keep it free to that point. And every day the line is outside this rain. Every day's been, the line's been down the street, and people have been telling everybody about it. It's all over the Facebook pages. It's all over the fire department's page. We partnered up with the fire department as well to donate all the money and proceeds coming in. The people are giving donations, then we're either going to match or double that at the end of this and do like our official grand opening. The only thing we've done differently for this one is $9.99 a month for their first 3 months. So we talked to a lot of different groups. We work with Retention Express that handles like our back office and call center. And, they have I think about 120 locations or so that they manage for. So they have a ton of data. So we'll get on the phone with them quarterly and sort of see what promotions work the best. And they said the sweet spot for promotions on the membership side is $9.99 for your first 2 months on any of the packages. So we're a little bit more aggressive with this, doing it for 3 months. And then we do 20% off each family plan car after your first car, up to however many cars you want. We'll do it for fleet as well.
I'm sorry, what was that discount, Chris?
20% on your second through whatever amount of cars you want to add to your family plan. But they're the only discounts we ever do is on the family side on the membership, and then we do free. We do OpSpot for text message marketing. We build that out, and that works really well for us to build that customer base that's loyal to us.
Great. Yeah, I think it's, we know that habits are formed in threes, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. And, I remember Camel Express or something saying that I think they do that. They do a set price, whatever you're paying for your wash. They give you 3 months of membership, and they claim that they're, and I believe that, as I said, that they have very, very low attrition. Very, very low attrition after that, because we're building habits in threes, right? So if you're going to do a discount, if you're going to give something for free, some people get very uncomfortable with giving away free, but it's all in the numbers, right? It works out in the numbers, right, Mike? It's a numbers game.
Well, of course, right? So I was gonna talk about, the family plan, for example. What we know is if you put someone on a family plan, they're gonna be a member for longer, right? You're creating a stickier customer. And the usage with each additional car actually goes down, right? So basically, first car, if they wash 4 times, second car is gonna wash twice, third car is gonna wash 1 time. So it's a great way to basically add revenue without having that liability. I mean, it's a great way to do it. Our data supports that.
Yeah.
That's why we make our family plans 50%.
I love
Great.
it. I love that.
Great.
Aggressive.
It's a big deal. Yeah, it's whatever reason you can get. And what I like to do is at our car wash, we do 25 because what I like to do is on holidays, bump it to 50 for this weekend only. So for Father's Day, don't forget to sign Dad up. Sign him up this weekend, get 50% off his membership for life, right?
They'll never cancel because they lose that 50% off.
And I like that opportunity. That's why I like to hone in at about 50% of where I could ultimately be comfortably for promotion, right? So Chris, you mentioned that you have salespeople. So obviously in the tunnel scenario, you have to have salespeople. I think you guys do a great job. Chris's salespeople generally in aprons, right? They just look like professionals. Do they still do the aprons?
No, we got away from that.
I love
'cause
that.
We couldn't get them anymore.
All right. I thought that was the coolest thing since sliced bread. But you have well-trained, awesome salespeople. What's that like, Mark, in the IBA, in the automatic business?
So your salespeople are your customers, right? And then, I have friends or other customers that don't use on-screen selling and they don't do as well. So, I mean, on-screen selling is, you have to have it. And there's a lot of IBAs that don't have that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're on an island when you're in the in-base self-serve.
Sure.
But, if you teach your cleanup people and your service techs to just talk about it, people will ask some questions about it there.
Right.
But
Great.
It's a different world.
Right.
Sure.
And do you guys use rack cards and other point of sale items at your automatic
Yeah, they just be all
location?
over the parking lot. So,
Okay.
but we do promo days, like we'll do
Okay.
10 days and free hot dogs
Okay,
once a
great.
year. And usually you get
Awesome.
a couple hundred members out of that.
Great. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Customer appreciation day, more or less.
Yep. Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
So we do a lot of training around sales. We have a full-time membership manager, and something we came up with internally is a term, MCR. And that's their main goal. When they pull up, try to sell the membership, and they don't get the membership, see if they'll buy the ceramic package or top package. If they don't go for that, review. Get them to leave a Google review. They're like our 3 trifectas, MCR. So we preach that. It's in every one of our sales offices. All our employees see it every day. And that's their main goal, is to get one of those 3 things done. We commission every membership. At our bottom, we start at $3. We go up to 6 or 7 on the top. And then during peak seasons, we do double commissions. If they have to sell a minimum of 200 in a month, they get double. So we have people in our peak times that are making $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month selling memberships, staying that out the pay station. And it's super important for our business in those busy times to really capture, because as soon as the bad weather hits, October, November, December, memberships start shedding. And we need to make sure we're bulked up for that. And then when the first snow hits and we get good salt, we'll build again. We also incentivize our assistant managers and our site managers to make sure we're hitting those capture rates. So the whole team dynamic there, everybody has a certain role to hit, and we're making sure we're able to do that. And really, the salespeople are the driver of our business. With good salespeople, then the site will just sort of plateau and shed and go up and down a little bit. It doesn't really grow, which we need to do as everything keeps going up every year. And then the other side of it is, from a training perspective, we do rack cards. We do 2 weeks of sales training through iPads. Charlotte, our membership manager, works with all the employees to make sure they're hitting certain talking points of, what they're going to get rejections on and how to sort of overcome those. And then after that, they go and work next to her for another week, and then they're out selling. And then the manager's bonus on making sure we're hitting the capture rate. And if we're not, we're going to the site, making sure what we can do to sort of make sure that we're able to do that. And then if we have a really strong sales team or people, we'll sort of move them site to site. So right now we're sort of evaluating, do we bring it in-house and have all the membership people work for us, the salespeople directly, where we're sort of managing the sales process and then deploying them to the sites. So that's something we're playing around with right now, because 94% of our memberships are sold by a person. Only 6% are sold on our website and after the fact, or by the pay stations. So we definitely see the value in having the people there.
Great. So if the goal is a 12 to 15% capture rate, and obviously there's a distinct seasonality to everything we do, right? The two biggest seasons, the green gold season, and then the first time that snow or salt hit the ground. And then sort of those seasons that we just sort of ease through, like the summer, do the best we can. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with, making sure that there's enough tires on and then that'll sort of get us into the retail side? What's the plan if you had a slower than usual car wash, right? Or things just, you took it over, you invested in it, you made it a good car wash. Now you need to get some tires on property. Sort of, what's the best way to do that, do you think, Mark? And I'm surprising them with this question.
Yeah.
We didn't rehearse it.
Well, I mean, I talk about this a lot. I mean, the best thing you can do for a site is make it a nice site, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we reinvested in our 7 sites 2 years ago, with light shows, even in the self-serve phase,
Great.
More functions, tap and swipe, in the in days, all new automatics, fresh. The self-serve in day industry lacks branding, and I always go back to how the tunnel side has kind of taught them. Maybe now they haven't taught 80% of them. They've only taught the top 20%.
Scratch the surface.
Right. They just scratch the surface. So that's why in my side of the business, there's so much runway, is because 80% of them are not doing it.
Right.
What I would say professionally. So, it really comes down to the curb appeal.
Okay.
You have to get them off the street and your brand. So once you build a brand, if you have more than one location in an area, it becomes a lot easier conversation.
Sure. Like Chris is dealing with now. That does. And I feel like, from you, I'm getting in this conversation, you're trying to do as much as you can to make it easy for everyone to have a good experience, but you're not trying to be everything to everyone, right? You're not, you're not putting a sales guy out there at the automatics. You're making sure it's a great place. It can stand on its own, good signage, great, auto seller kind of system out of the pay station.
You gotta remember, for 7 sites, I have maybe 5 employees. You have how many?
80.
Right. So now those 5 employees, some of them might even be part-time.
Right.
They do have certain KPIs are there. So if we hit a certain level, they might get a bonus. It just incentivizes them if they're there for cleanup to talk to somebody,
do the right thing,
not talk to them.
Right.
But we don't have the controls or the bandwidth to be able to pay somebody to stand there and sell a membership.
Makes sense. So I like the fact that what you're doing is letting the business speak for itself. 3 packages, not trying to be everything to everyone, not a million packages. Hey, here's what we do. We do it really, really well. Come and enjoy our product. Chris, obviously you get the benefit of that brand recognition now, as you've just opened, what location, number 3 or 4 or what?
That was site 6.
6. Wow. Okay. So site 6, now you guys have great brand recognition. How much does that play into?
So it was great because we have 3 within 15 minutes now. That's our 3rd site it's like a triangle. We have the 2 northeast sites and then that one right in Bucks County. So everybody in that area knew our brand before we even opened, and they also saw us on Street and Bustleton, 2 really busy roads, 75,000 at that intersection, 35,000 in front of the store. They saw it being built for the past 6 months. They recognized the crazy pattern we sort of have in the building, where purple and orange tiles on our building. So it does really stand out. Beautiful. And so people were excited. And just that sort of trade area, we have about 9,800 members before we even opened that site. And then that's just going to continue to add when we were open. We sold a little under 500 memberships there in 2 days when we were open. So people knew the brand. They were excited about it. And we did free. And we're still going to be free. And free was what got everybody talking about us. And then what I'll add to that question is, and I didn't make this up, but like the profit, if you've seen that on CNBC, he would talk about the 3 Ps, product, people, process. And same thing for us. When we go into a set, the lowest we've ever invested was $500,000, and the most we've ever invested in an acquisition after we bought it was about $4 million. And we found that the site we only put $500,000 into has now sort of struggled to perform like the other sites. And we only did like a light refresh, and we probably should have done a lot more on the lot, a lot more vacuums, and a brand new tunnel. And we didn't do that. And that site's our lowest performing store now. And the sites where we're going and investing in $3 to $4 million in CapEx and new equipment and making the outside beautiful, those sites are, are $2 million plus stores. and they all do really well. So I would definitely recommend investing heavy in the front end if you can do it, because you want to pull them in from how the building looks, keep them from what you're offering, the quality inside, and then make them feel good by the people you're putting on site.
Great, great. Your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I have some here. So, look, I mean, my role is obviously to advise car washes on how to set up a membership program and build volume, right? So, I mean, we've done this for a long time. You know, I'll tell you that like you got to kind of bring a Swiss Army knife to every job, right? Like the tool that you're going to choose is going to be different. So you got to try a bunch of different things, right? As a company, you know, in our early days, you know, we had this initiative to grow through, you know, pushing people. So we did a promotion through T-Mobile twice, T-Mobile Tuesday. And the first time we did it, we signed up 35,000 new members in one day.
It's huge.
It was wildly successful. The problem with the car wash business is it's truly local, right? So we sent people to washes that were too far. Usage was super low, right? Even though we got people there, retention was really poor, right? So that's one example. Got a lot of cars there, retention was bad. You know, another example, Mark, you said you don't do rack cars, they'll be all over the lot. But I have washes, for example, on the Navy bases, right? We've got washes we work with in Norfolk. And we know that, you know, basically the soldiers, they're not going to try, they don't want to be sold to. They want to take something away. We had to push this deployment freeze, like, hey, you're not going to walk away and like have a recurring bill that's not easy to cancel. So like, you know, that was one tool. You know, we don't do it everywhere, but that was one tool.
Like waterproof kind of, or
Yeah, you put like a lid on it, or you put it by your vending machines, by your
Yeah.
change machine, right? I mean,
Weather
every site is
resistant.
different.
Yeah.
Same thing with your sales, right? So while you're an in-bay and a self-serve, I have a wash in Michigan that's wildly successful. Their employees can just walk up to someone using the wash and say, let me buy this wash for you, right? And basically they give them the wash and they get to deliver the pitch, and they create like a loyal customer right there, right? Because loyalty is going to drive traffic, right? Once you have that loyalty, then you can pitch membership and things like that. So the tools, they can't be stale. You can't do the same promotions. You can't do the same thing. You got to have different signs. So that, I mean, that's what we've realized over the years is you got to try different things, different promotions. Free car wash days is something that's been wildly successful.
Yep.
We've seen charity. I'm looking at the Grace for Vets, you know, sticker, and that's a great story that Mark Curtis, you know, has
Yep.
quoted at last year's event, I think, about how
Yep.
right? So again, don't be stale and just, you know, bring a multitude of tools.
It's great. Last year I went to 12, 14 different states doing free car wash days. Awesomely successful. We've done them at tunnels. We've done them at automatics. And the deal is we send a big red arrow that says free wash today. And so you control the pace, right? We don't tell anybody. We tell the night before, you drop it on all the social media. You put it on all the local Facebook pages. The next day you tie in with a no-kill animal shelter or something. Say, hey, thank you so much. We just want to thank the neighborhood for being so great to us. Today your car wash is free. By the way, since I've got you here, can I tell you about our membership program? Can I tell you about our club? And what we see on those days is you wash about 3 times more cars than you normally wash on that day, respective to weekday, weekend, and you convert about 40% to membership, right? You do a good deal. So we see those are great days, and you're doing well by doing good, right? And I try my car wash. We're going to be doing 4 of those a year. And then at some point, we're going to hear members say to us, well, why do I have a membership? Every time I come here, I feel like it's for free. So what we do for those, any member that washes on a day when we're doing a free car wash event, we're going to donate $5 in their name to the charity that we're affiliated with that day or weekend that we do the free wash days. So I have a checklist for it. You know, we love doing the free hot dogs like Mark talked about, and some DJ speakers and stuff like that out. So it's a really good opportunity to get some new tires on site. So now sort of turning on the brakes to finish up here before we open up the questions. We talked a bit about loyalty, right? And I know you guys are doing point systems, right? Mark, can you talk a little bit about your point system for non-members?
Right. So, yeah, we have just our app subscribers,
Okay.
and they can pay through the kiosk or they can pay through the app. It
Okay.
really doesn't matter. And, you know, every time they use it, they earn points. And then once they, I think, used it 8 or 9 times, it just automatically texts them a QR code they can redeem for a free wash. They can give it to anybody.
Great. Right. Well, I mean, so
Simple.
is that something to you? Are they future members that you're using that opportunity to market to? Or is it truly just something, hey, I wanted an alternative for people that don't want to be members, don't want recurring payment, or a little both?
So, like I said, in the in-bay world, maybe it will be someday, but it's not subscription dependent, right? It's just a great bonus for us.
Okay.
So we love pay as you go.
Sure.
It keeps our revenue high.
Right.
And there's always people that are going to want to just use an automatic or self-serve. Not everybody wants to go to a tunnel.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, you know, and we sell bundles too. There is, I talked to Mike about this the other day. He may have disagreed or agreed with me. I can't remember. But there are people that have subscription, what I call it, the subscription,
The limitations.
well, they have so many subscriptions.
Okay. Oh, yeah. They're
You know, I don't want to.
subscription tied. Right.
They'll
Yep.
buy a bundle
Right.
and
Right.
they're paying through the nose for the bundle,
Yep.
which I'm
Yep.
okay with that.
Yep. Because to them, it's a one-time transaction. They're comfortable with that.
Use it
They
when
know where the
wanna
money
use
is.
it. It's
Exactly.
Not being forced into subscribing, giving all their information, even though I have all their information things.
Right.
Which is great.
Right.
You know, a box for everybody that wants to have a
Great.
box.
Again, not trying to be everything for everyone, but providing enough that everyone's taken care of. Great. Chris?
So we sort of adapted to what Starbucks does. You have your app, you get a point or a dollar for everything you spend there. We do the same thing. Every dollar you spend at a wash, you get 1 point. After 125 points, you get your free top wash. So we have all that for our retail customers. And then in terms to your point about the bundles, we don't do bundles, but what we do is now we just rolled out 6 and 12-month membership options. So for people that want to come in, we have some of our washers there's a lot of older people around there, and they will not give out their credit card for whatever reason. And we're actually we're testing it at one site. We'll see if we do it, but we're going to take cash for the 12-month membership for people that just want to do it. And we're happy with that, even though it's cash. It locks them in for a year. There's no refunds, no giving back time if you don't use it. It's just now we have a 1 year out of them, so the LTV is higher than what we already are at. So it's a win-win.
We used to spend I have a lot of snowbirds. You suspend for snowbird.
We don't. We've had some requests, the Jersey Shore people that live in the suburbs and they'll go down to the shore, but we don't offer it. And it hasn't been a big pushback for them.
Great.
So they're really the loyalty things we do, and I think it's important to do this something for your retail customers, because what we've also seen, people that churn out of our membership program just become retail customers.
Right.
And then they go back and forth.
Right. Yeah. I call them loyal non-members. I'll take it. Right. If you want to pay for your 3 washes a month, that's fine. And then obviously, talking about customer facing technologies, like Mark, your pay station's pretty advanced. It's doing the pitching for you, right?
The touch screens, yeah. Buy a club is bigger than buy a wash.
Great.
And, if they touch on the buy a club, they can always go back and buy a wash.
Right.
It's informational and they can buy it right there. And it's just like everybody else's pay stations that have that functionality.
Right.
As soon as you swipe your credit card, you're a member.
Right. Great. And then Chris, your sign up process is what?
Yeah, so we were with Washify until 2 months ago. We just got rid of Washify at all our sites. We're now with Next Wash. It's sort of the new kids on the block right now. They've been around about a year and a half. Justin, who started that company, used to be involved with Cobblestone out west. And so far, so good. We have LPR at all of our sites. The process is really simple. Select your package, put your credit card in, put your phone number in, sign, and you're done. We also have an account management tool on our website. So they go right on our website, put their phone number in, and text them a 4-digit PIN to get into their account. They don't need a password. They can see all their cars on their account, update their credit card, and then we can turn on or off their ability to cancel or how often they can do their license plate change. So we just sort of keep it simple. We don't have an app. It's just a web app. Basically, you use it on any phone.
Okay, great. And Mark, your app can do everything, right? The app you work with.
Yeah,
can do everything.
we don't. I thought I didn't think you were allowed to not allow them to cancel on the app. So our app can cancel anytime.
Okay.
And
Great.
we prorate. We don't like my pickleball membership. I had to pay an extra month. Kind of pissed me off.
Right.
So if you cancel mid-month, you get to finish your month out with
Right.
it prorates it somehow,
Right.
and then come back later.
Great. And that's sort of that's how we do it at EverWash, Mike. Obviously, make it simple. Cancel.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, there is that legislation out there for the one-click cancel, right? So I think at some point, we're all gonna have to make it easy.
Yep.
We have it in the app, just freeze or cancel anytime. Look, it removes a hurdle, right?
Yep.
Those people that are concerned about it being too hard to cancel and they won't join, obviously making it easy to cancel.
Yep.
Removes that
Yeah.
speed hump, basically.
I think it builds, I know for us, it builds a trust between us and our members that you cancel anytime. Pause, freeze, do whatever you want. Like some people want to be members when there's snow on the ground. Some people want to have a clean car in the summer, right? So I got in this industry, I thought you only washed in the summer. That's why my cars are rusty. But okay, so I'm going to finish with one question, then we'll open it up to questions from everyone. So we know retail's not going anywhere, membership's not going anywhere. What's next? That was a good question. And we didn't talk about this one yesterday either, because I'd really like your thoughts on where the industry's going.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think in the self-serve and in-day industry, it's going to at some point probably gravitate more towards cashless. You know, I know since I've been at CleanRight, I've probably converted 40 people to coinless who never wanted to even be coinless. So,
Right.
you know, the next step in my world is probably going to be cashless. And you may not even have a coin box in the self-serve bay. It might just be a screen.
Right.
And you operate the bay from your phone. I mean, we're actually talking to some people about that. So, unfortunately, my side of the industry is very slow to move.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the 20% will, but the 80%
Right.
are still in 1979.
Right.
So,
Right. Makes sense. And I think, I'd like to buy an automatic this year, and I'd love for there not to be a pay station. I'd love for it just to be a QR code, pay here, select this, one membership, move on. So what do you think, Chris?
I think in terms of washes and operations themselves, Express, I think, will still be dominant in most markets. And then you'll see more large washes getting built, like Valets and the Spotlesses of the world, where they're building these massive car washes, probably the size of this Topgolf, where they have, hundreds of people in there offering all the services. And then they have their expresses around the market. So it just sort of keeps everybody out, and they're the prominent player from the op side. I think from the tech side, pay stations eventually will probably go away. You just pull up, it'll read your plate. You have to set everything up on your phone before you even get to the wash. And then maybe there'll be like a pay window where they'll have an employee there, sort of like what Tommy's does. I think that's where the tech is going to go.
now
and then
Ford is talking to.
Yeah, with the car wash modes, like Tesla, I have a Tesla that's got a car wash mode. I'm sure down the line, there will be a software, an API that'll be able to talk to our POS on site. You manage your subscription right in your car dashboard, and maybe it washes itself at night. Like I have the fully autonomous car. I use it probably 80% of the time, and it does a really good job driving. If I just went home, charged it up at night, my garage door opened at 1 a.m., went to the car wash, it's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I think it could happen. I mean, it
No
drives
doubt.
really well, and honestly, it probably would guide itself into the car wash route better than most people do.
That's true.
But it already exists.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
The infotainment, wallet experience.
yeah, already
is
there.
Yeah.
And I think Toyota, there's a couple groups getting patents on this technology right now that they see where it's going to go. And then maybe these warehouse type washes will really dominate a lot of that.
Yep.
And then I guess hopefully on the people side, hopefully it gets easier for us, because right now we still have an issue getting people
hard.
to want to work at the car wash, even
It's
though all of our site managers make well into the six figures.
Yep.
Not a lot of, I don't think every restaurant manager could say that, even though, I guess it's just easier to work at a restaurant because you're in air condition all day. But other than that,
I
it's
will
easier to run a
never
car
go
wash.
back. I'll take
Yeah.
30 years refugee. I prefer this.
Yeah, it's much less to manage than a restaurant. You have inventory, you have a lot less people, and people are generally happy coming to the car wash. So hopefully that's the last piece of what we see in the industry
Great.
change.
Hey,
Great.
So if I want to add to that a little bit, you guys covered some really good points there. I've seen, obviously, because the scope, I work with all 50 states and all types of washes. I just want to give you a couple observations. First of all, at the wash that Sean is, managing, they have, I'll call it wash adjacent services, such as windshield repair, right? Which is like other revenue opportunities that present themselves because you're looking at the car. And I love that because if you look at like quick car care or like the oil and lube industry, now when you pull up there, they're pushing car warranty and they're getting so much data on your car just by reading your plate and the Carfax integration.
Right.
Like I think that opportunity or that, that will eventually make its way into the car wash.
Well, I do think, Express in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast is fairly new,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
It's far more established in the Southeast and Texas, and where you're seeing saturation with Express, you are seeing smaller operators think about doing add-on service.
Right.
How else are you going to differentiate yourself from that other?
That's exactly right.
Express? So I don't want to disagree with Chris too much, but like that flagship down in DC, that thing's awesome, right? The one in the parking garage.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing with all the people and everything, but I do think you are going to see a shift once the saturation happens, and there are going to be expresses that start offering offline services, windshield repair, whatever it may be, or just detailing in the free back area.
I think you're so right, because when we think about, what comes next, obviously it's not cheaper for any of us, right? So how do we add more value for our customers and more to our bottom line, right? There's only, like Chris said, I think Chris and Mark, somebody said earlier, there's only so much more we can do, right? There's only so many places we can squeeze until we need to look at bringing more money in.
EverWash needs a bolt-on where you just pick up their car. A guy comes and picks up your car at your house and takes it to the car wash.
That'd be nice. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
I'll mention it.
I want to piece of that.
Yeah.
It'll-
Deal.
I
I'm
could
not sure how scalable that is.
All right, that's definitely not scalable. I could definitely see more add-ons. I sort of compared to the laundry space. So we just opened up our first laundromat in December. It was an old Rite Aid, about 7,400 square feet, 160 machines in there. And the name of the game with that is to maximize every amount of square foot, revenue per square foot. So we not only have 160 machines, we have wash, dry, fold. We have 6 skill games in there. So people just want to sit there for an hour, like, let me go gamble. It's legal in PA. And it's a skill. It's like a casino game, but you have to do a skill at the end. And those things are making more money right now than the machines because we're just so new.
And they're always full.
Always filled. From time we open to the time we close, people do like to try to bring their beer in and drink.
Yep.
We don't allow that. But we also have a lottery machine in there. People, since we open, can you get a lottery machine? They come in with crazy ideas. We have vending. Vending's several $1,000s a month business. We also have people come in and pitch us on paying their bills there. Like people just sitting there for an hour. Hey, can I pay my T-Mobile bill? So there's all those different services you can add on. You have them captive for an hour. Obviously, at the car wash, you have 5-10 minutes. But I'm sure there'll be more services we can add. It's just we don't want to complicate operations, and that's sort of the rub there.
And you,
Matt, they're there, they're sitting, they can go do something else, spend money at our store. But the car wash, you need them in and out.
Yep. And again, not trying to do everything ever, introducing it slowly, getting one thing really right, and then thinking about the next thing, not doing it all at once, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. So let's talk about questions, thoughts and questions.
I had a question for Chris. You mentioned I drove by your Ball store. What's the smallest you would actually put a tunnel on?
That's a good question. So our smallest site is 0.41 acres. It's in the city. It's in the city in Northeast Philly.
Is that the one?
Fox Chase.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was a gas station. It was a BP gas station and a Gentle Touch car wash, which was a big brand back in the, 80s, 90s. And we bought one of their last few sites, and we converted it to an express wash. We have a 110-foot conveyor there, 8 vacuums. You have to drive through the vacuums to get to 3 pay stations. And that site, it does well north of 150,000 cars a year, and it's 0.41. We squeezed it in. The emergency exit literally goes into the McDonald's next door. We got an easement from the guy. So we value engineered the heck out of that site. If we had to do it again, if it was a 0.41 acre piece of dirt, probably wouldn't do it. But because it's such a great location that's insulated from competition, and there's 500,000 people within 3 miles, we'll do it all day long. But ideally, most of our sites are 0.7 and an acre if we can get it.
Great
but
question.
0.41.
Great question. Great question. What else?
Chris, you mentioned raising the price of your membership as a number, but how would you say to do that as a strategy? Come in go low, like doing it as a strategy gets members.
So that's what we do. We do that. So we started most of our pricing. Well, we did when we opened up a new site in that area. So the problem is if you already have 3 or 4 locations in the area, to be cheaper at that site. People are going to want to go to that site, become a member, and then use the other sites close to their home. So it works well if you're not already in the area to start low and then move it up every, a couple bucks every year or $1 every year. But if you're already established in the market, I think you're better off just focusing on doing that more aggressive promotion with the first 3 months for $9.99 and getting them hooked to it.
And as a follow-up, on you, what is the threshold of membership where it really makes sense? You're not posting your best customers, the lower volume site. You guys have a range.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, great question. It's low, right? I mean, you want to have that. What I tell people is you want to have the ability to have about 100 to 200 members, right? To do this right. So the calculation we use is take your annual wash count, divide it by 4. That's going to give you your unique customers. And if you convert 10% of those, that's going to be your member, right? So I don't know, 8,000 or above, if you start doing activities that are going to grow, like you can offer membership.
Yeah, and again, because we know, right, all these studies, it's, every year we see 4 uses. The average American's washing 4 times a year, So that's how we back into that number, right? Divide your customers by 4, and you're getting a rough, a number of unique customers, right?
Yep.
And then, Chris said his goal, 12 to 15% conversion at his tunnel capture rate, right? For us at our car wash, and I'm sure you do something similar, probably a little less analog. We have a dry erase board every day that we just put in, and people walk in and go, wow, and they're different colors, and we give props to everybody when they do a really good job, and have the conversations we need to have when they don't. What else? Is that it? Everybody enjoy it? Did everybody find this was fascinating?
Yeah.
Sorry about the technology issues. Are you guys going to be hanging around for networking and golf?
Yep.
So obviously, I want to thank you 3 very much for joining us. You guys are rock stars. They'll be hanging around if anybody has any other questions. And I know I'm going to be asking some stuff, and look forward to introducing myself to everybody here. Thank you all very much. And thanks, guys, for coming out. I appreciate it.